have never done this before,
Hi,
so
everybody, and welcome to Chat Space. Today, we are going to be speaking about some current events, just a few different things, such as Pride, Juneteenth becoming a holiday, just a few different things. We have a great panel today with us. We have Daximus Prime, Felice, Sadie, Jorge, R&D. I'm not exactly sure what the R&D stand for. You guys can definitely explain that to everybody.
It's an
Yeah,
off-brand.
so I look forward to a great conversation. How's it going, everybody?
Good.
I'm chilling.
Chilling.
all good.
Y'all talking about y'all chilling, but this is very low energy. I'm getting very low energy from
It's
everybody.
late clinic, Ted. How are you?
Daddy, where are the spoons? Come on.
You good?
It's my day off today, so I have all of my spoons. I'm just, it was a long weekend.
Must be nice.
It
Yeah.
was her little birthday party weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Wonderful. Cool. Well, I am Ted, everybody. I'm the Empowerment Program Manager of Prism Health North Texas. And I'll just let everybody go around and kind of introduce themselves real quick.
Well, I'm Ryan. I'm the R in the R&D, which is what it stands for. So, let you know. And the D is Derek.
Ryan and Derek. Awesome. Great to have you guys with us.
What?
I'm Felice. I'll go next.
Oh, I was like, I didn't know if I needed to say something or not. Okay.
I also work at Prison Health North Texas.
I am being a community engagement coordinator from 8 to 5, and I'm Sadie after 5 o'clock.
And
I'm
Jorge,
Dax. And you're Jorge. Yeah, I knew
Yeah.
you go Jorge. Feel
I'm Dax partner. Nice to meet you.
And I'm Dax. I'm a behavioral intervention specialist at Prism, so I do testing and counseling and all that jazz.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you all for being here. All right, let's just hop into it. So June is National Pride Month. Like, is everybody feeling prideful? I know this month is like almost over, which is crazy, but how are we feeling about Pride this year, guys and girls and other people who might not have
I have new opinions about Pride that I didn't ever used to have.
No.
I don't want the police at Pride ever. I'm over them, and I think I'm over like corporations and Pride. It's feeling a little bit like, okay, Target, you just gonna throw some rainbows up, Target.
Hey, my Target shirt was actually really cute. It was in black. I wore that proudly. My little $12 was great.
I don't know. They're cute. Some of the stuff is cute, but I don't think that's the issue for me. I'm just like, they're pandering a little bit, like,
Yeah.
where were you, Target? Where were you when it mattered?
Of course they
like
were.
you don't want them to be a part of Pride or to, show some type of, I guess, solidarity with the community.
It's a weird spot. It's like, how do you show solidarity without like
Selling yourself out? That's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
That's 100,000% how it works. That's how the conversations get to be had in the first place. It's 100% how it works.
maybe you can sell all the stuff with the rainbows and flags and everything, but all of the proceeds have to go to LGBTQIA plus profits. So when you actually buy that stuff, I don't want it to turn into like a pink drill for breast cancer, and then you just make anything pink, and then it doesn't actually go to. I don't want it to be that. Very like convoluted, but that's me. I digress.
I get that.
I feel like it kind of like ignited the like performative allies. Like all of a sudden, all these random people are like, "We love Pride. We're all in solidarity with you." And I'm like, they're like, "But I don't really like to talk about sex." And I'm like,
Ain't about that.
They just don't want to be boycotted.
Exactly.
I'm like, like I don't know. Like there's like performative allies that have just like came up randomly, like that never have like fought before. So I don't know.
There was a video that came out recently, and I like how nobody in this clinic like 10 minutes ago, and everybody and their dad is up in here now that I'm doing this video.
And they did?
It was quiet with nothing happening in here. Just loud. And there's a video of a girl, and it's like a satire, and it's like corporations during Pride, and she's like, "Hi, gay. We are gagging for we're sashaying away with discounts." And, and I'm like, yeah, it's very bad.
It happens. It happens. I think it's cool. I think it's hey y'all back there. I think it's a good thing that we are having it this year. I'm glad that this year they're able to be more things in person, even though I don't think I participated in anything this year. No, I didn't. But
see much going on in person, unless I'm just not looking at the right places. But I don't know. I know everyone's like missing, or everyone misses like the big party and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully next year we're back celebrating that way.
I mean, I don't feel like most of the bars, at least here in Dallas, missed out on much of anything. I know that it wasn't the same, and I know that they didn't have a parade. But for the most part, having actually been down there for a day and then late night, one of the weekends of actual Pride here, I don't feel like there was much of a difference other than the fact there wasn't a parade. So the people were still present. People were still out talking. You had your protesters, which you always have. Those were definitely out also. They were fully aware. So, but
was there Pride last year? I can't really remember.
Last year there wasn't much of a Pride at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like compared to last year with this year, you know.
Yeah. It was a huge difference compared to last year. But last year doesn't exist in my book. It was an accident that happened. So so we skipped. We went from 2019 to 2021. And we just kept going.
I would die if they were just like, let's just call this 2020 and start over. Like,
I'd be okay with it. It's fine.
It was such a cute number. It was just very like, everyone like, I don't care who you are. 2020 was coming. You were like, this is gonna be my year. It's gonna be very cute, and then it wasn't. It was bad. That's Roxy, everyone, with the long ass nails. Click clacking on the hardwood.
All right, cool. I want to give everybody a little quick thought on that. So next little topic here is about Juneteenth that just officially became a holiday. For a lot of Black folks, Juneteenth has always been a holiday. I know I have like a ton of friends who've always pretty much taken off for it. And just in case anybody doesn't know, Juneteenth is the holiday that commemorates the official end of slavery. Because despite the Emancipation Proclamation 2 years prior, Texas was the most remote of the slave states with low union representation and increasing slave population. Juneteenth is a symbol of total freedom from the slave trade across all states, including Texas. So I think it's pretty exciting to, for that to finally happen. I can't say that personally it was something that I was looking for or anything, but I know as an organization last year, PRISM decided that this year we would be closed for Juneteenth, way before any of this stuff happened. So I think it's pretty cool that, we were kind of a bit ahead of the curve on that. But yeah, what does anybody else think about that?
About time. I think it's important that everyone is being educated about, like, because I think a lot of white people, we think, oh, that's about the end of slavery, and like that's it, and they're like, they hear end of slavery, they're like, great, this is great, we really did it. But it's more about like when people in Texas were like, oh shit, we've been free this whole time. Like they found out
the years after.
Yeah.
The years after.
So I think it needs to be talked about more.
I don't think it'll be talked about more. I guess that's kind of my issue, is the fact that I think that this was a way to try to appease the masses and say that we gave you guys something, and we'll just go on from there. I mean, we can't even argue about whether or not people are supposed to be happy on Memorial Day weekend, let alone a weekend that is celebrating the delayed information that slaves in Texas knew that they were free. So.
It's accurate. I mean, like, we don't even talk about, they don't even like talking about racism in like schools. So I feel like it was like I feel like they just put a Band-Aid over it and was like, here you go, here's your day. That's it. You're good.
I do appreciate the extra national holiday though.
Yeah.
That part is dope. It ain't always gonna be on a Saturday, so I mean I'm definitely about it. So like that part is dope. But
yeah.
Ryan's a bartender, so holidays don't mean a lot to him a lot of the time.
Nope. But a random one, a random day in June, now that'll be a good day. That's gonna work out just fine. So I like it.
I think it's cool. I definitely agree. Oh, go ahead, Sibelius.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, yeah, I think it's I don't know, I saw a lot of like memes and stuff of how like, yeah, they as a holiday now, but then I mean, and I agree, there's still all of these other issues that aren't being addressed or being ignored, or there's still a lot of discrimination and I can't even think of the word. It's still going on. It's still happening. Like, and again, some people may think like, oh, like, great, but it's like that doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really help any of the other issues that are occurring. So, and then again, going back to like the things in schools, I know like Greg Abbott's currently like trying to pass a law to where like certain things won't be taught in schools, or it's like selective. So certain school districts and cities can choose what they're teaching their kids, and it's I'm not Black, but as a person of color, my grandpa's always told me like, I'm Mexican American, like they're trying to write you out of history is basically what it is, and that's what they're doing.
These are the same people who get mad about statues.
And well, no, but it's just
I've never met a Black person that was ever mad about statues. I'm just
not the Black people. I
haven't seen that. I'm just letting you know. I've never met that.
No, how
I took today off to argue about a statue. Like that's what I missed out on money for a statue.
Yeah, and I just think, I mean, in light of that, it's just crazy that and I think they made that so public. And this was going on in Texas. I forgot what it was called, this bill he's trying to pass, but like it's, and I think that the Juneteenth holiday made it like a big, everybody knew about a national holiday, right? But like there's other things going on where we live in our state that are still kind of alarming. And it's like, that this happened, but all this other stuff yet is still occurring. And it's like, I feel like people aren't as like aware of that kind of stuff too. So you can't, there's just certain things that I'm like, why does this make headlines and like this other thing doesn't? And we can vote Greg Abbott out next year, y'all.
I hope so.
I ain't got no problem helping push Scooter out the governor's station. I ain't got no problem helping Scooter get out.
Critical race theory.
Yeah, and now he's like, we're building our wall, and I'm like, I'm just over it.
I think my biggest problem with not saying that they don't want to teach critical race theory is what I think it's called. But just using Juneteenth as an example, the first time I ever heard anything about Juneteenth in school, like obviously I heard about it with my family, even through my church. My church used to do a Juneteenth celebration. Like, it is 100% Texas history. Like the first time that we heard it, like I heard about it in school, was in Texas history, which is not something that they spend a lot of time teaching through your elementary years. It is something that is specifically geared towards your middle school students. And like that's the first time in Texas that you really get to really dig into that stuff other than the Alamo and Texas independence and stuff like that. That's the first time you get to hear about some of the other things that went on in Texas. And that's what's so crazy to me about Juneteenth. Because I tell people, I was like, everybody in Texas should be wanting to talk about it because it is legitimately Texas history. Like it was based around the slaves in Galveston being so far away and not knowing everything that like it's crazy to me. I was like, it's about as Texas as it gets, and a lot of people don't even know that part. Right. That at the time, just the way the country was constructed, Texas was way off by itself, and that news wasn't being pushed along in a hurry either. So.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree, and I think it's interesting. And what like, is there anything that you guys think that we can do? I guess there's like young professionals to try and address some of these things. Some things like you were saying, Felice, that are in the legislature currently that they're trying to push through, which is actually going to be harmful for a lot of people. Some of the things regarding race, some of the things regarding the LGBT community. There is a lot happening that I don't even think people know about because the average person probably doesn't go and see like what bills are being pushed through right now, and I think it's something that's very important. And if we don't pay attention to it, it can be to our detriment, basically.
I'll tell you what, I used to be the person that was like, I don't really care about politics. We're not going to talk about it. I'm not trying to start dumb conversations with people, like, or you know what I mean? I'm just not trying to get in these arguments and do that kind of stuff. And I used to be like that. And that's the problem. Like, that's the problem is that people try to be neutral, or they're just like, I'm going to stay out of it, or like, I'm going to do this, or they don't express. And I just think you have to talk about it. And like things like that, where you're trying to pass this theory where no one's learning about it, or like if you follow me or not, I tried to be vocal on social media about a lot of things because people genuinely don't know. So if you know something and if you can share some accurate factual information, and then I do it all the time, where I'll see something and I'll be like, oh, what is and I'll end up looking something up myself and I'll do more research. And I think that kind of helps get others thinking. So I think part of it is whatever you're passionate about, whatever issues that, you're advocating for or anything like that, just keep spreading the information, because I think it does intrigue a lot of people, whether they say they're into it or not, whether they want to be active or not. And then, of course, just encouraging your friends to get out and vote and do their part and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to call people out, but do it in a compassionate way that doesn't start a fight. And me and Ryan, we get into arguments all the time about little things, and I'm learning to be better about not letting it get very emotionally charged, because then you can't reach a place where anybody learns.
I'm okay with the little argument.
You cannot argue. You cannot argue with emotion.
You can't argue with emotion, but you can't be afraid to argue either.
No,
definitely not. Derek knows. We were hanging out with somebody the other day, and he was saying some sideways stuff, and I was like, "Listen, no, we're not." And this person was old and white, and is just one of those people you just kind of waiting for to just get up on out of here. But it's still, if you're with people in company like that, you can just be like, "Listen, if you want to talk like that, that's your life, but don't do it around me. Otherwise, I'm not going to want to hang out with you anymore." At the very least, and point it out in front of other people and be like, "This is not cute behavior."
Also probably felt like you were perpetuating the problem because, unfortunately, it was a table full of white people.
Yeah.
That sounds, and you were very conscious of that, and that is something that a lot of people aren't.
Yes.
So, they're not very conscious of that, and that's something that you are very good at. You're like, there are no minorities at this table, and this is what we're sharing amongst ourselves. And a lot of people don't and aren't aware of conversations like that, and you are. Dax is my best friend.
Ryan, you make a really great point about consciousness. Like, do you think people just choose to not be conscious? Or, I mean, because in today's society, information is just there. Like, you can see it, and like you can be able to clearly know when injustices are happening.
Information is readily available, but that doesn't mean that you are forced to look at it or forced to see it or forced to make it affect you or forced to feel that way. Like, I mean, like information is there and it's been there. Like I tell people, I was like, information has been around forever. I don't know how old everyone else is, but like I'm an 80s baby and I'm sitting here telling you like, the encyclopedia, like we had the whole collection, 2 different ones. Like we had 2 different ones. It was there. Information has always been there. The difference is like if you're able to take the information and you're able to apply it to your everyday life and like use it and just learn from it. And I think that's the difference that we're at right now when you look at our society as a whole, is the fact that a lot of people just are like, well, I've never experienced that, or I don't see that, or I don't think that's still a problem. And so everything is quickly and easily dismissed. And once again, we still have the information to turn around and be able to go see what other people are talking about. And I mean, unfortunately right now, especially in this country, I think there's only one person here not in this country, but in this country, like we've completely forgotten like the message that like you can state anything and present it as a fact. Like you can, like that is true. Like anything can be presented as a fact, but it still doesn't mean that it's not a false fact or a fact that is untrue, but it can be presented as a fact. And like that's just something that in this society right now, we are completely lost all touch with that. And we believe in absolutes, and we think that if something is given to us and presented as a fact, that is what we have to take. And it doesn't matter if it's false, it doesn't matter if it's true, it doesn't matter if it's true to a majority or a minority of people. It's taken as a fact and it rules over everything. And that's just not the way that life works, essentially. So
yeah, our life is very, very, very like our society is super selective. We are selective hearing, we are selective listening. We do what we feel like we need to, so people don't feel like until it immediately affects them that it's an issue. So, like most people say I'm super vocal about like reproductive justice and like abortion and things like that on my social media. So people will ask me, they're like, well, oh, you're only into it because you work in those fields. And I'm like, no. Like it just sounds bad. But that's just how everybody is. They think if you only should understand things or you only should be involved in it until it affects you directly, then that's when they want you to begin with. So
it's too late.
People are very selective. I don't think that they just don't know. It's that they choose not to know. Yeah. They don't think that it applies to them.
Right.
I think too, like in that it doesn't apply to them. Like as sad as it is, I generally do. Some people like don't know. If you grow up in a small town in a small area and you know just these handful of people, you're only surrounded by these things that you know. And once you go into a more diverse setting, I think it's all about exposure. Like if you're never really exposed to any of this, if it's never talked about, it's never brought up, if you never see it, I think people genuinely believe like, oh, that doesn't occur. Like, because a lot of people, I think, like seeing is believing. And they just think if it never crosses their path, that they generally don't have to worry about it. It never crosses their mind. And I think until you're exposed to all these different environments, people, jobs, like whatever topics, whatever have you, like then if you don't ever hear about it or know about it. And I think too, and social media controls that, like what comes up on your Facebook feed, what comes up on Twitter, what comes up on whatever else is like based on things that you search. So you're only in this bubble, and until you maybe not everybody has a friend like Dax where they'll call them out on your BS, or a friend like us where we'll call you out on your BS, or we'll be there to educate you on like other things that are happening, and if you it's to me really exposure. And then I think once you realize like, oh crap, like this does exist, then you become more conscious of it.
For sure. I think you can really connect it back to, what several of us on this call do, work in sexual health. And, for years, even still to this day, people don't think that they are impacted by like things such as HIV, that they can't be impacted by it. Not long ago, I was having a conversation with someone. She was like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was still a thing." Yeah, it's still a thing. HIV is still a thing. People are still contracting HIV. People are still dying from HIV and AIDS related causes. It's a thing. Like it's still possible for you to contract this. Like it's, but people, they I think a lot of times we choose to live in our own little circle of ignorance. Like we have this little box and like we're fine with this little box and what our box contains, and anything outside of that, we don't want to know. We don't want to learn more. We just choose to be ignorant, basically.
Go ahead, finish. Go ahead, finish.
But yeah, I just that's what I believe, and it's like it's I same thing with like HIV, same thing as it relates to like the most recent big pandemic with the coronavirus. People feel like, oh, it doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother me. Okay, well, you're dead now. Like, I didn't think a young person can get this. Yeah,
you're dead.
It's possible.
It's that whole thing, like when it happened, everybody was like, oh, you can't touch this, you can't touch that. Everybody was like, I need to be like in a whole complete like bodysuit where
Bubble.
you can touch the door.
Bubble boy.
Yeah, like I can't touch the door. I can't do nothing. So that's why I said it bring me back to when you were saying something about HIV. People still think like you can get HIV from like a toilet or like somebody coughing on you. Like I was in the Uber and my throat was like itchy and I like coughed and the guy freaked out. He thought I had COVID. I had to show my vaccine card. I was like, I have my vaccine. Like, I promise you, I don't have COVID. And I was like, well, this is what we're going to become. Now I'm not going to be able to cough in public at all. So, yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. When if a person around me and they cough, I look. I'll be like, okay, wait. I can't even deny it's the truth.
This is why I have my vaccine card with me, so I can just show it and let everybody know that I do not have COVID, because people, like you said.
I'm sorry. Look, I'm like, okay.
Well, that too. I bartend on the weekends, and I still wear my mask. Like, we don't have to, but I still wear my mask when I'm serving people because they're eating, we're close, and like none of my coworkers, everybody's like mask done. We're like, and they asked me, and I've told a couple like, oh yeah, I've been vaccinated since like February, and they're like, oh wow, like, ooh. But they're like, why do you still wear your mask then? I'm like, because I don't know, like, I'm still kind of about it. And then again, we're close, a full restaurant of people eating, no masks and everything. I'm just like, I don't know yet.
I had a mask on and I coughed and they freaked out. I was like so embarrassed.
Sanitizing.
I was like, I just needed to coat my throat. It was itchy. Like, I was like, geez, who would have thought I was gonna be in trouble? He looked, he's about to flag me down and take me out the car. So
most of us.
You are much better than me with the mask. I will just let you know, because I have been done with that mask. I can't. I'm over it. I paid all this money to have a smile, and I'm gonna show it off. I've been done, and I've been vaccinated as well. So like, I totally get it. I understand it. It's gotten to the point for me that like, somebody else feels comfortable in a mask, like I'm 100% about it. I personally no longer feel comfortable in a mask, and like. I also got injured in November, and I had to spend a lot of time at home and like stuff like that. So like, I kind of had the whole transition from like being really comfortable about wearing the mask all the time to like sitting at home and obviously not wearing it and then trying to get readjusted to it. And it was just kind of one of those things where I'm like, I can't redo this. Like I can't do it. So more power to you.
I talk to myself. I'm like, when am I going to be comfortable without it? Like, when is normal here? Like, what is good? Like, I'm like,
I think the masks are here to stay for some people, and that's why I tell people, it's like, for some people, I think they're just going to be more comfortable. There have been a lot of Asian countries that people have been wearing face masks for a very long time, and I just think that it will just be something that, like, some people just feel comfortable on. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I miss the look of like having the bandana hanging around my neck that I used to pop up when I was going to school. Like, I get it. Some people are just going to keep it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like,
I think it's a very cute accessory in a lot of situations. I think our country is also unique in that we are going to find a way to shit on people that wear the masks when this is farther gone. I want to talk about this because raise your hand if you're vaccinated, if you feel comfortable. Yeah, we're all vaccinated. I think in the United States, we are a group of people that are like, yes, absolutely, please sign me up. But then there are people like my parents who think something's going to happen and they refuse. I have told them I will get you a vaccine. And then in Mexico, where Jorge lives, it's different. Like, can't nobody get a vaccine? Like,
we have a person who has a comment regarding the vaccinations on Facebook. It says vaccinations don't work. You are becoming a test subject. They are not FDA approved, and wearing a mask after getting vaccinated is beyond ludicrous. You people have fallen for the fear porn that social media companies and the mainstream media networks have been pushing. You need to walk off this plantation of what can I do? What are we allowed to do? None of this is based on science. What do you guys think about that?
That's a really
hold up. Vaccines don't work?
That's what they said.
Oh, where's polio?
Where
was measles? Where was the mumps? How did you get rid of them? I just want to know. Since they don't work, if you want to have a conversation, I'm totally okay with that. But don't come up here saying that it doesn't work. That doesn't I feel like there's your own argument. Like,
I feel like there's a lot of like medical mistrust in that comment a little bit. I feel like it's a little bit of medical mistrust because that comment just sounds like somebody who is afraid of medicine and just in general.
If you don't want to get vaccinated, I tell people all the time, don't get vaccinated. That doesn't bother me. As long as enough people get vaccinated, then it doesn't really matter in the first place. You're welcome. We're doing our part for you. You don't have to worry about it. Like, you're going to be around more people who are vaccinated than not eventually. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But just to go out and attack people for getting a vaccine is like, this you should be over this in this country. Like, there's so many diseases that we've gotten rid of that we don't have to deal with because of vaccines. So the idea that vaccines don't work just make you sound ignorant. I really want to use another word.
I mean, you're right. I mean, as you said, there's been so many different, ailments and diseases that have been, eradicated due to vaccines. I mean, it's proven that vaccines work. And people say, oh, well, it's not FDA approved. Listen, there are a lot of things that are FDA approved that are clearly unhealthy that we really shouldn't be putting in our body. So FDA approval,
there's a lot of things
in some sense, doesn't really mean a whole lot.
Just beauty products in general, like
we put a lot of
them aren't FDA approved.
And people talk about like this conspiracy, like they're tracking you and all this stuff. Like, I don't know where this stuff comes from, but it's like
they've been tracking me.
Yeah,
I let them track me. They've been tracking me. We know. Like, I know. Exactly. They know where I'm at.
What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Or I look at people's stuff all the time. Like when it comes to like hepatitis and everything, people are getting vaccinated for everything else. Just get vaccinated for this, please. Healthy people get vaccinated so that unhealthy people, if they can't, if they are immunocompromised or whatever it is, elderly people, kids with, diseases, they don't have to. We do that for them.
First of all, my insurance ain't that great, so I don't want to be in no hospital. So we've been taking a vaccine because I ain't got money to pay like that. I don't like hospital stays.
I'm about it. Like, I'm one of those people. If you don't feel comfortable getting a vaccine, don't. If you do feel comfortable getting a vaccine, do. If
Yeah.
you live in the state of Iowa and they plan on doing another lottery, all you got to do is get your vaccine, go get it, because you get a free lottery entry.
Yeah.
Just for getting a vaccine. Like, I mean, it's just like, if you don't feel comfortable getting it, don't get it. Like, that's how all vaccines work. That is not anything new. They've been telling everybody that about the flu vaccine too. Like, it's fine. Like, it's okay. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like,
I mean, while it's not FDA approved, there is science behind it, and I get that there's this. Look, there's a lot of science behind it. I'll provide you articles if that's. I actually had this. I posted something on my Instagram about the vaccine, and this person DM'd me, coming at me, and she had told me that. To show her the art, she's like, show me the science, because I have not seen it anywhere. And I replied, and I sent her 5 different links that are actual scientific studies that are like, it's not from some janky doctor or some random person. These are like the CDC, NIH, like, published articles. And I was like, I don't know why I have to look this up for you. Again, information's everywhere. We can look it up ourselves. But I sent her, I was like, and I wasn't trying to argue. I was like, if you don't want to get vaccinated again, that's cool. But that's what I choose to do. And I choose to spread this factual information. And that's what I'm doing. And I always make sure to look stuff up before I share it.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure that I'm not spreading some bogus around too. But and then any medication you take, whether it's Tylenol, Advil, I don't care. There's side effects. It doesn't matter. Those are FDA approved. No matter what you take, Benadryl, there are side effects. It's not like they're not telling us that there aren't side effects. The side effects are clear. This can happen, whatever. Anything bad that's happened has also been I guess people have come out with certain stories or stuff, but there's not a single thing you're going to put in your body that doesn't have a side effect. Not a single medication. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. There's not a single medication you will put in your body, whether it's pain pills or anything, that will not have a side effect. So that argument too, I'm like, I don't. My
even grandma's fried chicken comes with a side effect. That's the way I look at it.
My birth control has more side effects than the COVID vaccine. And I take that every day. It's just things like that it's and I would rather, again, prevent me from getting COVID. I'd rather prevent me from getting pregnant. That's why I choose to do this. And it's there's science behind it. Anything you take has it's just, I mean, for me, again, just weighing my what would I rather do?
Cost benefit analysis, right? Everybody has to do that.
But there's some science out there. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, medical mistrust is definitely a big thing, and I mean, especially in the Black community, we don't trust it. It's no. I was speaking with one of my siblings, and they were saying that they feel they were on this whole bandwagon that the vaccinations is about the government trying to track people, and I had to explain to them, I'm like, listen, that doesn't even make sense. The amount of money that it would take for the federal government to create the technology to do that, it would make no sense. Plus, there is no reason for it. As everybody just showed, they have cell phones. I have, and this case has GPS in it. My watch has GPS in it. My car has GPS in it. Literally every electronic thing that I own has a GPS in it. My camera, everything.
Because we spent so long growing up in a special. We are special. You are unique. That for some reason somebody decided they wanted to spend all this money to track you and know exactly where you go. You are so special, they need to know where you are going at all times by giving you a shot because your cell phone ain't enough.
Oh my God.
Nobody cares about me. No, they don't give a damn about me.
You are not the one.
You can follow me. It's gonna be real boring, and I'm gonna see I go to the bathroom a lot. It's gonna be.
I see the same thing at the clinic.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I'm not that interesting.
Everybody in this clinic puts a little post-it above this, and I'm like, Mama, who do you think you are? You are not the one. They are not looking at you. No one's trying. And here's the thing: for my Black folks that are conspiracy people that are very into that, I think there's a flip conspiracy that you should be paying attention to, because for centuries white people have been wilding out when it comes to Black folks, not giving anybody equality, all of this stuff. I think when you look at in a Black neighborhood, you've got people lining up to do the vaccines, and didn't nobody tell any of the black people that live there. And then all of a sudden, on that one random day, you seen a line of white people who went to that neighborhood just to get the vaccines and scoop them up. That's the real conspiracy.
But it's not even really conspiracy. It's just misinformation that is played telephone. Because people are saying they don't want to get the vaccine, but they don't even have any reason why they don't want to get it. They just want to get it because Johnny didn't get it, and Lisa told them it was bad. So they're like, I'm not getting it because it's not safe, because those two people said, no, it's not good. So that's not even a conspiracy. That's just you choosing not to do it because someone else didn't do it. If we're going to talk about medical mistrust, then that's when you're actually talking to a provider. You don't trust what they're saying. You don't whatever. Half of the black and brown people that say no to it, it's just because someone else said they don't want to do it. Or they read some article somewhere that said it's not a good idea from somebody who's not even a person that is even qualified with science to have it. So
I mean, as well as history.
Yeah.
History plays a part in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sibling, I won't throw too much shade at him, but he doesn't want to get the vaccine. Everyone else, literally in my family, but him and my dad, anyways, won't get it. And my brother says that he's like, I'm just waiting for something better to come along. Like, I'm like, man, this is it. Like, I don't know what you're waiting for, because this is what they're doing. This is what they're giving. I don't think, at least with this for now, within the next 5 years or so, they're not going to come up with anything better. And I mean, if they do, that's great. But like, it works. It's scientifically proven that it's effective. And like, I mean, if we all want to get back to this normalcy again, and I mean, we're pretty much there. But I mean, you know,
what is normal? What is?
What,
I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Are there people like this in Mexico, Jorge, that don't want the vaccine? They're scared of it. Are there?
Yeah, there's all kind of people here. It's the same. I mean, people don't want to, but they don't even know what's in there. I mean, like, you get your drink, you eat whatever it on the table. I don't know, but you don't want to get a vaccine it's fully or official proof that can help you, but people still don't want it. So it's the same everywhere.
I think too, it's kind of, I guess it's nuts that like, or it's crazy that we have to incentivize it here. Like, we actually have too much. We have too many vaccines. People aren't actually getting it. And in other countries, people are wanting it, and it's just not available. And it's like, you know, that kind of disparity too is, and I know I'm not surprised, Jorge, that there are people everywhere that are like, there are those that do it, there are those that don't want it, there's those that don't trust it, you know, whatever. But it's not available everywhere. And I mean, the fact that we have access to that and so much more health-wise. You know, they're giving out lottery tickets and giving out free donuts. And what was Krispy Kreme doing? Like, you get a free donut.
Yeah. I think for an entire month, whenever it was available in whatever state they were doing, some state they said you can have a free donut every day for the entire month if you get the vaccine.
Yeah.
One donut a day.
My question is, what's Krispy Kreme got to do with these vaccines? Like,
I mean, if you love Krispy Kremes, that's perfect.
Some people were gonna get the shot one way or another. Now they got a shot and a donut. Like, it works.
Yeah. A lottery ticket.
Or a lottery ticket, yeah.
Outside of like the whole medical mistrust and people listening to other people, I think a lot of this reason why people don't want to take the vaccine has to do with the fact that they don't really believe that it affects them. They don't believe that coronavirus is going to have or could have like some type of damaging effect on them. And I think it just causes them to, you know, be like, oh, you know, whatever, you know, I have this whole lackadaisical type of attitude toward it. And I mean, that's not even just coronavirus. That's with a whole lot of other things as well. You know, if a person feels like something doesn't like affect them directly, then they don't care about it. It's not going to matter as much. But if their mother or their father starts dying from coronavirus, or they have a child who dies from coronavirus, I've seen it. I've seen people. I know people who've gotten sick and people who've lost their parents and uncles and aunts and children. Like, it's
or their Medea.
Yeah, like somebody who's important to you, and if they pass away from this, and now you're like, oh, wait, maybe I should consider it.
In the beginning too, like when I had quite a few family members get it. My partner and his parents got it, and I think like people would post like, oh, my daughter got this, or my sister got, or my friend got COVID, whatever. And then people would always put like, this virus is real. Like people, like they had to verify that until it happened to them. They're like, this is real. Like, and then they took it seriously. And it's like, why do you have to wait till that? When we have the opportunity to prevent more people from getting it and getting deathly sick, and having, those scares. Like even if they do survive, I know people are like, oh, I survived it, it's no big deal. But it's like, no, some people there were very severe cases, and some people almost did die, and like, or they did, and it's just like, why do you have to wait till that point?
Some people don't even cross that line fully. It's like people like my uncle died, and everyone was like, oh, but like as soon as he was like gone and done, like still people are like, we're not getting the vaccine. And I'm like, how do you do the math in your head of like, these people in our family, like we just went to their funeral, like fully went to the funeral in the middle of the harshest part of the pandemic. And I was like, you shouldn't go to that. Like, you can do this after. Like, and they still are like, we're not going to do it. We're not going to get the vaccine. They don't cross to that point. Like,
sorry. I just realized the whole comment section, and
I haven't seen.
I started reading it, and I was like,
I've seen it.
Don't even tell me.
The only thing I would say is people have their own opinions about it. I don't necessarily hate on anybody. I have friends that don't want to take it, and they're like, I don't want to take it.
I guarantee you, I am probably the most do whatever. Do you, boo boo? Do you? Yeah. Do you? I am one of those people. But I understand there's always going to be a mutant variant. That's the same way the flu shot works. Mm-hmm. Every year they change. It's not the same flu shot that they gave out the first time they ever had a flu shot. It changes every year. I don't know. Bill Nye the Science Guy. I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
I'm still curious on what they're going to do with that. Like, is it going to be a yearly flu shot thing, or do we take this once? Like, where's that news? I'm waiting.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I can see it being that.
I got all distracted. I apologize. I just see it on the comment button, and I was like, oh, I can read what he said. I'm sorry.
I mean, I can see it being like a yearly thing. Like we're eventually, some places will want it to be a requirement, to be able to get it.
Well, there are already countries like that, and that's what's so crazy about me is that, especially in this country, obviously I can't speak for you, Jorge. It's been a long time since I've been to Mexico, and I'm going to tell you right now, I wasn't very sober the last time I was there. So, this is the way it was. But like the fact that people are so like, there are jobs that are doing incentives, like there are jobs that are paying people to go out and get. I was like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, compared to what some other countries are doing, the fact that we are making such a huge deal out of like people finally getting the options to be able, which I feel like even when you go back to the mask, like it wasn't the fact that people had to wear the mask, it was the fact that they didn't have the option not to. And that's the thing in this country that everyone has been so like spoiled with, is just having the idea of you've had the option. And now we're getting to a point where people actually have options and they want to make fun of people who are taking one of the options. And I'm like, I feel like that was the whole point and the whole idea of everything that we went through was to get to this point, to just where people have that option to say, hey, do you want to wear a mask? Then wear one. If you don't, then don't. Do you want to get a vaccine? Then take one. If you don't, then don't. So it's just crazy to me that like in this country, which like I said, that's the only thing that people value, like really, honestly, it sounds so terrible. that value in this country is the ability and the choice to go out and go after the things that you want, or the things that you feel like that you want to do or you want to achieve. And now it's like, because you're taking that option, like that's where the problem is coming. And it's crazy to me, because that's the most American thing there is having that ability to choose, that ability to go after something, that ability to achieve something. And it's nuts to me.
So then it comes down to the fact that the people that are crapping on other people for making a choice and choosing an option just don't got nothing to do.
Oh, well, duh. Like, that's the one thing. The one thing we learned in COVID is the fact that people would have way more time on their hands than they thought they did, especially if you remove a job. Like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, without 8 hours of the day to like tell me that I got to be at work, I don't know what to do. Like, what am I supposed to do with the day? And that's like, and the second thing is like, we have an affinity right now for grown people telling other grown people, no. And like it bothers us. We don't want nobody to tell us no about anything. And those are the nothing. Exactly. And those are the two takeaways that I've gotten from like the whole COVID and the whole shutdown and everything, was just the fact that, like, man, you take our job away, or tell us we have to be at work from home for 8 hours, or you can't go to the bar for these 5 hours after work, that we are lost as a people. We do not know what to do with ourselves. And the fact that somebody else has the nerve to tell me I can't do something, like, I'm gonna throw a little tantrum, like a little kid. Like, you can't tell me no. You're not my dad. Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't tell me no.
Unfortunately,
that's all I learned. Huh?
I said, unfortunately, America can be kind of ghetto. We just don't know how to act. So, we just don't know how to act. You can't take us nowhere sometimes.
Speaking of,
apparently you can't even stay here. Like,
yeah.
When we were talking about jobs just a second ago, we're wrapping up here. We got a few minutes left, but there is all this stuff going around about the labor shortages and people not being able, like, there's so many jobs available and no one's taking advantage of the jobs. And the unemployment rate is so high, but it doesn't have to be because of all of the available jobs. What's y'all take on that? Ron, what do you have to say? I feel like
no. Don't start with me. Okay, so I work in the service industry, and for the longest, like, the running joke is like, when people fill out their tip sheets and be like, you get the people who understand, you get the 20%, and you get the people who understand that, like, oh, you work for your tips, and then you get the other group that's like, oh, I'm gonna give you cash because taxation is theft. Like, you get those people, and then you get the people who are like, go get a real job. And like, the way I define real job is, as long as it pays real bills and it supports a real life, then it is real. That is a real job. It does not matter what it pays.
Yep.
I know for a fact from friends that I have and people I know that there are a lot of people in my industry that just, after all this was the icing on the cake that gave them the motivation to leave the industry. So I believe that is part of the reason why my industry is it. And the people who are having problems hiring people, why don't people want to come back and work for you? That is the question. That is what people don't want to respond to. Like, that's what people don't understand. I was like, because every bar that I know that people love working, like, they're fully staffed. Second, I think that with COVID, because we did have so much time and we couldn't go out to the bars, you couldn't go out to the malls, unless you were just an avid online shopper, you didn't have a lot of avenues for you to go out and spend money. So people were able to just see how much money they were spending on things like that. So I feel like a lot of people learned a little bit about themselves and their spending habits. So I think that people were able to save. And I think because of that, this country, for the last, I want to say at least 20 years, there are so many people who have 2 jobs. And I think with that ability to see how much money they were spending on shopping and going out and bars, that people just were able to look at their own finances personally and were like, I'm not going back to that one job for whatever reason, whether it was the hours, whether it was somebody, a manager or something. So I just think that I don't feel like we have as much of a shortage. I just think that for the first time ever, or the first time in a while, people are okay with working one job, tolerating one thing, figuring out their own finances, getting their own stuff in order, and they're not worried about where that extra money is that they would go out and spend on something. And I honestly feel that way. I know I feel like I'm in the minority with that. I already know, but I just like nobody right now in this climate with the way things are, nobody wants to work two jobs. Nobody wants to have to deal with that right now. It's awful. It is awful. And I say it all the time. All the time. My job is constantly like, we need more people. And I was like, you ain't paying nobody. They're not gonna come. They're not gonna stay. So unless you want to hire high school kids, then you want to do that. Nobody wants to hire high school kids right now either. There's too many adults that are unemployed. We're looking for adults. Well, adults need adult pay, and until you do that, they're not coming.
Yeah, people started thinking quality. People definitely started thinking about quality over quantity for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, working at a bartending too on the weekends. I did it all throughout college and everything, and I was working from home, and I was working my one job during COVID, and then I had a lot of time, and I was like, let me just get some extra money. Like the restaurants opened back up, and I was like, well, I'll go back for funsies, basically. And yeah, we've been short staffed, and then it really sucks because then you get these people coming in complaining about the service, or this goes wrong, or there's open tables, why aren't you sitting us? And it's like, we have open tables, we don't have people to serve them. Like it's like, and you're right, Ryan, like people are they're looking for other more fulfilling jobs. I think that's a big thing too, is like not that bartending's bad, and people genuinely do love bartending, and it is a real job and a full-time career, but like people are looking for other things, and us young people are out getting our degrees. We're trying to get this, other job and look at different avenues, and people are starting their own businesses and all kinds of stuff. I think like people are just finding other avenues and ways to do what they want to do. I think that's a big thing too. It's like, I think growing up too, I saw this like 9-to-5 office job, and it's like, no, like you can do all kinds of cool stuff and do what you want to do and enjoy your job and have fun doing it and get paid what you deserve. And knowing your worth too, because a lot of the time too, as crappy as it is, like restaurants and the service industry, like I've had my fair share of bad managers or bad coworkers or doing, and you want to work in an environment that you enjoy. And it's like, why would you go back? Why would you go back? If, people come in all the time for their shift. I'm ready to go home. And it's like, dude, get in, like, why are you serving still? Or why are you at this restaurant still? I think, and people are realizing that, like they'll find their worth elsewhere, and it's there.
Once again, I noticed in a comment. I don't know what McDonald's you've been to recently, but there ain't a lot of high schoolers rolling into McDonald's when I'm pulling through. I'm just letting you know, like,
no,
the majority of the country is employed by people who pay minimum wage, and you can go look at the statistics on that. That's just the way it is. I was like, outside of the federal government, like I'm just letting you know, it's like Walmart, Target. I was like, so. The people employing people are getting minimum wage. So,
and not only that, I think it's crazy too. Like
who's Christian? I don't know who this person is. I don't know who it is. This sounds so perfect.
You go try to find a job, and it's like 5+ years experience. Like you're 22 out of college, and it's like, where could I have gotten this 5 years of experience from? And it's like anything's like that. Or it'll be like, we'll take the degree or of substitution of experience, or experience and substitution of the degree. But like, and then other places, you're right, Ryan, are looking to hire like adults. And it's like, how do you start? You have these high schoolers at McDonald's, good for them, because you have to start somewhere. You have to get experience somehow. And being in the service industry is great because if you are a plumber or an electrician, that's a service. You have to have people skills. You have to know how to work with people and build your business and do this in certain ways and build relationships and communicate. Like, where do you expect people to start?
This stuff, like
they don't.
stuff that
They
this guy
don't though. They don't want people to start. Like the idea is to have as many people be able to do as much work as possible for as little as possible. That is the way capitalism works, and that is totally like it is totally fine because I'm the capitalist. I just think that it's just gotten to the point where we are in this country. We've got to figure out how to solve some of the problems that capitalism has created with capitalism, and that is the saving grace to me for this country. And the fact that of the matter is like it's not the fact that one group is underpaid, it's the fact that we are underpaid as a whole. And it's not one of those things where we're looking about the idea of like whether the person at McDonald's is flipping burgers and getting paid what. It's the fact that like me at my job, I should be getting paid more. And if that's what that person's getting, then that's going to travel up the chain. And that's the problem that everyone else doesn't like. A lot of people don't, I shouldn't say everyone else, a lot of people don't see is the fact that it's not the fact that the person at McDonald's is being underpaid. It's the fact that the person at McDonald's is being underpaid. The person that's managing them at McDonald's is being underpaid. The person that's delivering the goods to McDonald's is being underpaid. It's a whole chain reaction. So,
and it goes back to that thing about quality over quantity. You know, people that were in the service industry during the pandemic, they're like, you know what? I'm going to go back to college. Freak this. I'm going to go get a better job. So they were like, I'm going to go to this school so I can make more money, so I can have a better opportunity to have something different. So they just started thinking like, no, I'm not going to go back to something that didn't make me feel good, didn't make me feel happy. All that. I'll just say it.
Money and the hours. That's the only reason why you work in the service industry. I've been doing it for 15 years. It's the money and hours. And I tell people, I was like, eventually the hours become more important than the money does. And you like, I don't want to work every weekend. I don't want to work every holiday. And you just get to a point where you're like, I'm done. I don't want to do this. Like, I can't do this. So the money's always been there.
Before the pandemic, though. That was like that. This just pulled a big open.
This made it even more clear to a lot of people.
For sure.
A lot of people.
I wanna say that like I feel like Ted, we're winding down, right?
Yeah,
we're getting there. I think something I think needs to be said about this person in the comments. Almost every single thing this person is saying, the root of it is us versus them, and that is not what we need to be. Like it's very like burger flippers versus electricians. We are all human beings before everything else. And that has to be the root of everything that you do. I mean,
money is not determined by how you make it. It's all about the spending power in the first place. Like I tell people, it doesn't matter if you make your money stripping, or if you make your money waiting tables, or if you make your money plumbing. Like it doesn't matter. The spending power is all the same, and that's the idea that they want people to think is it like because this person made their money this way. Like it's not worth as much, it's not valued as much. And I was like, that's the problem, is like it's the fact that people are underpaid for what the value of being able to buy things in this country are. Like we used to be a country that people strive to own homes, and now people want to rent everything. Like they want to pay more to rent. And I was like, they don't want to own any real property. And I was like, it's just different. So, and it's because it feels impossible. It's impossible right now if you're making $60,000, $70,000 a year right now, and you go and look at what you've got to pay in interest for a home, and I was like, it's impossible, and I was like, that's not the median income for the country. I was like you can be making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 and look at like what you want out of life, and it looks like impossible. And if that's not even the median, which I believe is right around 30 something. So you bring that down and you turn around and look at it, and you look at it and like, how does that person feel? They're actually in the middle. I was like, and they can't figure out what they're going to be able to get out of their life and be able to afford because of the way that we pay people in this country. It's unfortunate. It's scary.
Why y'all think
it's really scary.
Oh wait, Roxy sounds like she's done.
We'll get you a tiny home. We'll get you a tiny home.
I love tiny houses, by the way. Totally my jam.
That's the dream.
I would be okay with that. I really would.
I'm too big. I can't turn around. Like I don't need nothing tiny at all. Like Like nothing at all.
Well, guys, this has been an awesome conversation. We will meet back here again here in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, you all can join us again.
Derek
Thank
has
you all so
opinions, I
much.
promise.
Oh, can I plug something?
Sure.
Okay, if you want to go, I'm having an art show at Padilla Gallery Saturday, June 26th. It's free. There's free booze. There's going to be art. It's going to be fun. Wear your freakum dress. It'll be very cool. All these beautiful people should be there. Oh, Jorge won't, but in spirit. You won't. Shut up.
You remember?
You got that wedding.
I got a wedding. I got to go get my yacht attire for my wedding. That's the yacht attire for the wedding. I gotta go.
Like Carlton.
Felice, did you have an announcement?
Yeah, while we're here, National HIV Testing Day is the 26th, right, Sadie?
The 25th.
It's my birthday, so it's the 25th.
Okay, 25th, which is Friday. So we are, Prison Elder Texas we are going to be, dang, I don't have the address. Anyways, we'll post a flyer.
It's 3200 Lancaster, 3200 South Lancaster. It's right in front of the DD's Discounts parking lot, right in front of the DART station. We're going to be doing hepatitis testing, HIV testing. We're going to be giving out vaccines. There are a limited supply. There will probably be snow cones and some food. It's going to be real cute. So if you're
also
around,
doing syphilis tests as well.
syphilis testing.
But it's a free event. It's going to be from 3 to 5. So if you want to come say hi, come get tested, come get some food and whatnot, we will be there on Friday, the 25th. And I'll send a flyer to Ted to post to the empowerment page. But that's what we're doing. Did I say 3 to 5? It's 3 to 7. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's it's the end of the day. But
Girl,
yes.
if you get there at 3 or a little bit after, it's going to be real cute. It's going to be fun.
We'll be there Friday. So
I know tomorrow at I believe at 4 p.m. we'll be having Best Life, which will be virtual. If you want the link to that, you can just send me a message and I can send it to you. I believe Thursday we're having yoga, which is an in-person event. Hopefully it's not too hot, so we'll see about that. If it is, it'll be virtual also.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if anyone wants to participate, AIDS Walk South Dallas is having their 10th annual walk, which will be Saturday, June 26th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The starting place is at the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center. And register on Eventbrite. Or just type in into the Googler AIDS Walk South Dallas, and it'll give you information about the registration. But yeah, thank you all again for joining us today, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening and an awesome week.
Ted, one more.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Yes, if you need condoms, freenicepackage.com. We will send condoms directly to you discreetly. And our podcast, Beneath the Briefs, is really great. And if our commenter on here would like to continue to troll us, we do accept voicemails, and we would love to talk about your stuff on the air.
ignore that. Just go listen to our podcast. There's a lot of great stuff on there.
Yeah, come see us. It's great. Listen, we're very
Who's
funny.
all on the podcast?
I mean, I am Devin, Anna, Felice is on there sometimes. Saddie's
They
on.
also bring in certain guests from the community to talk about topics. So
I've definitely heard the podcast. I like the podcast. So
Well, get into it, Brenda. You can be on there. Yeah, we cover all kinds of subjects, but I'm done.
Y'all got me on this one.
All right.
all right. Bye everyone.
See you later, guys.